Hey, Coach, how are you?
Doing well.
Good, good. Jared with the Daily News, obviously, Middle Tennessee this weekend. I look back to when we were getting ready to start the season. You guys were playing Tennessee, and you talked a little bit about that being an opportunity to talk about the history with a young team.
Mhm.
Middle Tennessee and you guys kind of go way back, a lot of battles between the two of you. Is this another opportunity to kind of introduce them to a rivalry, or is that
Yeah,
kind of
we've talked about it, and we've talked about some of the games that we've had in the past. But more than that, we've talked about just how good they are, the personnel, and what we've got to do to win the ball game. And so, yeah, we bring that up, and that's part of the motivation. But sometimes that motivation doesn't really take effect until you've been involved in some of those battles. And so, while I think that rivalry probably carries more weight with me and with Ivy Brown and with some of the coaches that have been here. Raheem certainly gets that sense, but the freshmen, to them, that's it's still new. A lot of things are new.
And with Middle, obviously you had a battle with them last year. It seemed like in that first meeting, you guys were able to hold Anastasia Hayes in check a little bit. In the second meeting at Middle, she kind of went off a little bit. She's averaging nearly 28 points per game, and her sister is right there too with 16.
Mhm.
I guess what is it about those two especially, and this, I guess, the entire team as a whole that makes them so good?
Well, they're really patient with the ball. They're fast and they're really gifted at getting to the basket and finishing in contact or with contact and in traffic. But they don't get hurried. They're very patient, very poised, very under control. And then, of course, our sister can really shoot the ball from the 3 point line as well, and so that adds an extra threat to them. But they just really play with a lot of confidence and they really play poised. And so we got our work cut out for us.
Coach, it's Jeff Leitzer from WBKO. You've gotten Reneen back for 2 games now. You told me it'd be, work her into the lineup, but she seems to hit the ground running, averaging like 18 and a half over those 2 games. Just what's it like having her back, and what's her progression to get back into where you think she can be by the end of the season? What's that been like so far?
But she's really confident. She's still working her way into playing shape, but she's playing just like mature players do. When you get a little bit of experience, you don't play with the same uh, maybe frantic, or you play a little bit more controlled. And so she's not in the shape that she can be, but she's still in good enough shape to be impactful on the floor, obviously. And so we intentionally kept a lot of things that were familiar with Raneem in place so that she was able to kind of plug and play. And so that's helped us. And now she's kind of getting adjusted to the other players and the teammates that are surrounding her now. So it gives us a whole lot of confidence with somebody on the floor that really is just in control of the game and knows what's going on. And so when we get the ball to her, that's really our challenge. We've got a challenge defensively to guard the Hayes twins or Hayes girls, not twins but sisters, and they've got a challenge guarding Renee. And so she's still a real force inside, and our challenge is to make sure we get the ball to her enough and in the right places.
Yeah, coach, just following up on that, you had a bad loss on Thursday, and you come back and get a big win on Sunday. Just what does that do for your team and its confidence to see that, against the exact same team, you had a bad loss on Thursday, but that same week you're able to get a win? What does that do for your confidence moving forward?
Well, we watched the film, and try to help them to understand that sometimes you make mistakes and you can't let one become two and two become three. And that's what happened at Marshall. We let that snowball in the third quarter and really didn't kind of get into a mindset where we've got to lock down, get a stop, lock down, get a score, and then we got to come down to get another stop. And we let that compound. And so I felt like that was a big change in the game from Thursday to Sunday, because Sunday we still didn't do everything perfectly, but when things went wrong, we didn't lose our composure. We came back, we got refocused, make sure we did do what we had to do to get the right shot or to get a stop. And so that's growth, that's improvement. And so we have to continue to do that same thing as we do in every game.
Coach, speaking of that game on Sunday, Marshall goes on that 13-1 run to take a 54-53 lead, but then you guys respond right back with a 12-0 spurt to essentially give you guys the game. What does it say about the resiliency of your team to be able to bounce back just like that? And how do you guys pick up right where you left off on Sunday?
Yeah, and that's the key is we have a little bit of a roller coaster up and down with some of the young kids, like it's not just game to game. It's almost quarter to quarter and sometimes possession to possession, and even in practice. And so getting them to kind of even out just their mindset that you know, if something's really good, you still got to come down and play defense again. You still got to go back down and execute on offense again. And so if something's really bad, you still got to go down and play defense again. And so getting them in that place where they can just kind of be consistent and play better, that's where we are. And so I think we're getting closer to that. But you can come to practice, or you can watch practice anytime. And so it almost changes drill by drill. So, but they're growing. What I love is their intensity, their work ethic. I've talked to you guys about that before, and you can go into the gym 30 minutes before practice and they're in there working, and you can stay in there. We get done, we leave practice. And matter of fact, I walked out yesterday after practice. We had watched film, we had practiced, we had been in there for a little while, and there were still 3 players grabbing a coach, grabbing a manager to rebound and working on stuff. So at some point that will pay dividends and the experience will start to pay off.
Coach, you know, when Raheem first checked in this season at Marshall, shortly after that, there was a play where the ball got fed to her down low. It seemed like the defense collapsed and she was able to kick it out. And I know you had, for an open 3, you know, there was, you talked about how she changes kind of the floor for everybody out there. But, you know, now that you've actually had her for 2 games, how have you seen her just help the younger kids and what they're able to do?
Well, in some ways, she gives them not just a presence on the floor, but a confidence. And even though, you know, we can throw the ball to her, but it gives them confidence with the ball. Just kind of, I guess, just knowing that she's there. And she's gotten better at the inside-outside play, which is what we need. Now we need to make some of those shots. And that's another one of our challenges against Middle Tennessee. They shoot better as a team from the 3-point line than anybody on our team shoots individually, except for Renee. And Renee's 3 for 6. So you guys, I told you about 3 years ago, she's going to shoot the 3, didn't I? And so she's continued to work on that. She may miss the next 3 in a row, but she's got the green light with a good shot, and she's getting more confident, and that changes the floor for her personally, because now she has always been a pretty good, for a 6'4" player, pretty good at getting to the basket off the dribble. She's been uncannily able to do that. And so, but the problem was nobody had to really guard her away from the basket. So now she's adding and growing that part of her game. That's not going to be where her bread's butter, but it helps add and expands her ability to make plays on the floor.
You know, Middle's had a lot of success since the start of conference play, but they are coming off their first loss. You know, looking at that last game against Southern Miss, is there anything different that you can take away from that one as compared to the other games to try to help yourselves out?
I thought Southern Miss did a really good job of just guarding and trying to contain the lane and keeping Anastasia from getting to the basket. Now, you know what? She's been doing this a long time. She's been playing her way a lot longer than we've been guarding her, and so she's still you know, a tough challenge. And so we have a strategy, we got a game plan, and I thought Southern did a good job. We'll have a challenge that we can do that as well with our players and what we're able to do. You know, she's still got great players around her that can shoot the 3 ball when they're open, and they do a really good job on the boards as well. You know, they're rebounding a lot. They're rebounding a lot more just from a numbers point than we are, and so we've got more than just her to worry about.
Coach, I have one more. In that win versus Marshall, you had 3 players score 15 plus points in Raheem, Hope, and Merrill. How important is it to have that offensive balance, and how much more dangerous does it make your team when you do?
Yeah, and that's a great point, because that's the difference right now between winning and losing for us is having more than one score. And when we struggled, even in the second game at Louisiana Tech, we struggled because we just couldn't put points on the board. And so, you know, the defense isn't perfect, but it's good. It's better than it's been. Rebound isn't perfect, but it's you know, it's improving. And where we need right now is we need some of those field goal percentages to go up. We need some of those open shots. We need them to fall in. And I feel like the players work hard. They're making those shots in practice. It just hasn't translated to gameplay yet. And so at some point that will, and that'll help us a whole lot. But that's kind of where we are. I feel like the kids are working real hard defensively. This will be a bigger challenge than we faced probably since Tennessee defensively. But we need to make some shots.